Welcome back, everybody, to the GioMoShow, 88.3 FM WXOU. Giovanni Moscheri here, still the host of the GioMoShow, still the sports media director of WXOU, and still here, the doctor is here for your football therapy. Sit on the couch, let's have a session here. So, the Lions in week 2 of the NFL lost to the Seahawks in overtime. It was a 38-31 loss, something like that. And things were looking a little bit shaky for the Lions, but overall, let me give you my big picture here. So in May, me and my cousins were sitting on that couch and we gave our predictions for the Lions season. And so far, I'm 2-0 in terms of predictions. I predicted that the Lions would beat Kansas City, but that would come at the cost of a loss to the Seahawks. My reasoning for that was those are some of your two most difficult, most challenging, best opponents that you're going to be having almost all season long. Obviously, you're going to see Dallas at the end of the season, but I mean, we're talking about it in the here and now. We beat the Chiefs at home on opening night. It was awesome. Of course, it was awesome. But the thing is, you got those are two of your best opponents. To go 1-1 against them, especially the way we did it by beating the Chiefs and the Seahawks, I'm not upset by it. Zooming out, 1-1, that's okay. That's not bad. 0-2, kind of bad news. 2-0, whoa, that's awesome. But 1-1 is where we're at. Some would argue, and I guess now that I'm thinking about it, I can kind of see the argument for it. If you beat the Seahawks, then you had the tiebreaker over them. But same thing as last year. Now the Seahawks have a tiebreaker over you if you guys are going to be competing for the playoffs. But if your goal, and I believe it's achievable and we got it, you got to win the division and you don't worry about Seattle. It's not a big deal. The seeding, I mean, you're still going to get a home game for at least the first round. And you might face the Seahawks, and in that case, we'll get third time's a charm at home in Ford Field for a playoff game. Anyway, that's in the future. So I could see the tiebreaker thing being a thing, but if you're winning the division, no big deal. And I was not able to watch the game. I was listening to it because on Sunday I was in the studio for women's soccer against Purdue Fort Wayne. As I mentioned before in the previous episode about the Oakland Sports Update, be sure to check that out. Comment, like, and subscribe, YouTube Lingo, and 5-star on Spotify. Anyway, so I was not able to watch it. I was listening to Dan Miller and Lomas Brown. I love listening to those guys anyway, so it's not a big punishment, but it does come at the cost of being able to see what was happening in the game. But from what I was hearing, it was a bit, the Lions came out antsy. The Lions came out a couple penalties in the beginning. They came out very, very excited. Came off the win. That place was loud. It's their home opener against a bitter rival. And from what I could tell, the players were a little bit jittery as well. They were kind of they were a little juiced up as well. And you needed to be calm. You need to be cool. You got to be collected in those kinds of games. And kind of came out as a bit of a shock. But the Lions, I mean, they kept up with it. Of course, pick six, that happened. Of course, I mean, that definitely happened. Did it happen because Gibbs ran the wrong route? Who knows? I've been told by the Lions themselves that wasn't the case. Goff takes ownership of the pick six. Obviously, it didn't help, but we were still able to go into overtime against the Seahawks. And, I mean, we had a chance. I mean, to leave it to a coin flip is a bit of a questionable decision. So, I'm hearing some of the opinion that Dan Campbell was conservative at the end of the game, even though he's more the aggressive, more the go for the kill kind of team, not be conservative, let's play for overtime. Yes, I can understand that as well. Kind of sticking to your identity. It's been working for you so far. It might work for you again. But also, when it comes to being aggressive like that, and we're talking about fourth downs now, then it's going to be biting you a little bit. It worked. It worked in week 1. It didn't work in week 2. I mean, it's not something to change the whole strategy over. That's what happens when you gamble. That's what happens when Campbell gambles. I'm going to be using that more often now. But that's just what's going to happen here. And this time it bit you. And, speaking of gambling, you leave it to a coin flip, Seattle gets it, and they go score. There was a hold on Hutchinson, sure. But we'll get into Hutchinson in a little bit. But just kind of zooming out on the game, like I mentioned before. I'm kind of scatterbrained with this, so forgive me if this is a little bit hard to follow. But that's kind of been my experience with the game. I wasn't able to watch it, so on the radio and on podcasts, I'm kind of piecing together how everything went. I know a ton of Lions got injured in that game. And I'm going to talk about that right now. We have now concerns about Amon-Ra St. Brown, turf toe perhaps, some lower body injury, something that maybe he can fight through. We'll see. Maybe something he could fight through. David Montgomery, he's going to be out a few weeks. That's not good. In a week and a half, he is proven to be a monster, especially behind this offensive line. And the fact that he had any success with the Bears was incredible. And now that you get him behind a good O-line, he would be behind the O-line, then he's proven to be worth every penny and worth the upgrade to Jamal Williams. We love Swag Daddy, but dude, Montgomery's good. And now to see him injured, it's Gibbs' turn, man. It's time to prove why you drafted him the way you did. And you're going to have his competition, his direct competition in the first round of running backs of this past draft, Bijan Robinson. He's coming to town. And Gibbs is going to have to prove why he was drafted. He's going to have to prove why he was scouted the way he was. And he's going to have to prove it. So far, it's been limited touches. It's been trying to acclimate him to things, try not to do too much with him, but you're going to have to let it rip. Who else did you got? You got Zonovan Knight. You got Craig Reynolds behind him. Gibbs is going to have to be the star of the show. He's going to have to be the star of the show. He's going to have to get touches, whether it's running between the tackles, whether it's more jet sweeps to the outside, whether it's routes, short routes and all that. I mean, he's going to have to get involved. He's going to have to draw some attention because, as it looks like right now, the Lions' offense is looking a little bit depleted. Defense looking a little bit depleted too, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But, the wide receiver room was already kind of shallow. You still don't have Jameson Williams. You're not going to have him until week 7. Now Amon-Ra St. Brown's a little bit hobbled. Tough guy, of course. I mean, I would like to think that he would still play, but it's still going to be there. Khalif Raymond and Josh Reynolds, they're good targets, but as the number one, as the focus, it's a bit of a shallow position group. And it's something that the Lions can work around, yes, but it's not looking good. It's not better now than it was before. Marvin Jones, he's got some work to do. The old veteran has got some work to do to make himself known, make himself valuable and contributive to the offense. So we're gonna have to see them step up, man. It's just gonna be that way. I think I've heard Antoine Green is injured. I think the rookie that we drafted in the later rounds. It's just the receivers are gonna have to step up a little bit. Gibbs is definitely gonna have to step up and probably be one of those receivers in some of the plays. He's gonna have to run in between the tackles. And is it gonna be a run by committee? I mean, if that means that if Gibbs still gets his touches in the committee, still gets a good amount of touches, then I'm fine with it. But I'm not here looking for a vanilla 2 yards a carry of just running random guys behind a good old line who is also not the healthiest they have been. So I mean, the Lions offense, they're already experiencing some of those struggles in terms of injuries and stuff. Let's go to the defense. We'll cover James Houston first. He's out for 2 months now. Our secret weapon, our secret sauce, the let the bulldog loose, the foaming at the mouth on the chain. You let him loose on a pass play, but he's coming out for 2 months now. And who does that leave on the defensive line? I like Kaminsky, but as a primary, he's going to be there all the time. I mean, he's not a star in the league. He's a good player, but more of a complimentary, I would say. You got Hutchinson. He's good, but he's been struggling to produce. Got a bunch of pressures against the Chiefs. Not much against the Seahawks. So Hutchinson, again, is going to be the main focus on the defensive line. Aleem McNeil is, he's there. Isaiah Buggs is somewhere else. I don't know where Isaiah Buggs is. I'm looking for, he made a lot of good plays last year. I'm not sure what the deal is. And, we saw before that he deleted his social media and he said it was, He was kind of talking cryptically. Our sports director, he's under the assumption that it's a behavior thing and they're restricting his play time because of what he did on social media and kind of the way, maybe the way he's acting in the locker room. I don't know. I mean, that's his theory. I don't know. But either way, I haven't seen Isaiah Buggs. I like the guy. I would rather him be there against one of the best rushing attacks in the league with one of the best running backs in the league in Bijan Robinson, who is already one of the best in the league. I know the Christian McCaffrey comp is real, I would say. But I'd rather have Isaiah Buggs there, but for some reason he's not. CJ Gardner-Johnson is out. Gone. We don't know how long it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be a bad one, and we're not going to see him for a long time is what it sounds like. We lost Mr. this sounds disrespectful. We lose the ski mask. We lose that attitude. We lose that this ain't the same. It's a big piece of the leadership in just 1 year on a 1-year deal. He already came in and he has electrified, has empowered, and has juiced up the defense, especially adding to that secondary. That's been something that we've been needing to upgrade for a little bit now. Now he's gone. And thank goodness that it's a position that we're not as shallow in. At safety, I mean, we got Brian Branch, we got Kirby Joseph. Tracy Walker, he's going to be making his start against the Falcons for the first time in almost exactly a year, actually. He went out week 3 against the Vikings in Minnesota. He's going to be making a return. So he hasn't played in a year, but it's like the safety room is like, okay, if somewhere had to go down, fine. But I mean, the leadership loss is huge on that one. That one is that's a tough pill to swallow for the rest of the team, and it's going to come down to Aaron Glenn. It's going to come down to some of the leadership from Cam Sutton as well. Manuel Mosley, we don't know, unsure of his return. We knew that when we signed him, but it's like okay, we're kind of up against it now. You got a 2-0 team coming into your town, ready to roll, ready to keep rolling, ready to roll the Bijan bowling ball down, ready to put some mustard on it. Also, Bijan doing Dijon mustard ads, stuff writes itself. Sometimes advertising's easy. But one other topic that I wanted to get into in regards to this game, in regards to the Seahawks game and even like some of this season, Hutchinson has been getting held, and it was very obvious on the last play of the game. And it was nationally known that against the Chiefs, and you had the tackle. He's been jumping off, and now he's been benched after being flagged a lot for it now, as the refs have kind of caught onto it. So Hutch has been under some distress, yes, but in year 2, when we saw against the Chiefs was awesome. What we saw against the Seahawks, crickets. I love Aiden Hutchinson, and he's a young player, and he's still improving, and he's got every intangible that you need to see for him to eventually become that huge, game-breaking defensive end that every team is gunning for and wants and needs. But think about this. So, same time last year, or I think it was week 4 last year against the Seahawks, we heard that the Seahawks, they're starting 2 rookie tackles. Oh, Hutchinson's going to feast. Hutchinson's going to tear him up. Gino's going to be scared. And what happened last year? Crickets. This year, they're out there 2 starting tackles. Hutchinson, now in year 2, he's going to feast. Crickets. Again. So, it's something I had a feeling of coming into the game. I mentioned it on my show last week. I must have. I sure have thought it, but it's the same thing that happened last year, and it looks like Seattle, they just have a good game plan for it. Pete Carroll's a good coach, dude. Like, come on. And what I've heard that from those who watched the game a little bit more closely, that they saw the running backs then picking up Hutchinson. You saw some chips from the tight ends, and like you had like more of a committee to handle that to overcome the loss of the 2 tackles. But Hutchinson was kind of crickets. The only sack we got was Anzalone after like 7 touches on Gino, and he was backing up, and Anzalone just came flying down and said, "Screw this, I want to go home," and got the single sack. But we're still looking for Hutchinson, man. And what I want to say, and again, I love Hutchinson. He's young, I get it, but how long are we going to say that he's being held? How long are we going to say that he's being screwed or cheated and like he's not getting the attention? And if it weren't for this, then he'd be feasting. I'm not there yet, but how long until it's on Hutchinson to overcome that stuff? How long until it becomes like we realize that that's just part of the game sometimes? Some of the best defensive ends, they get held. Bosa, Crosby, Watt. You better believe that they get held sometimes, but they still get home. Sacks have a lot of factors to it. I understand that. But like stuff like pressures, QB hits, like how long until it's on him to be able to overcome that? How long will it take for him to develop that? And like, you get what I mean? It's like we blame other things, but how long until we blame the common denominator? Not there yet. I'm getting closer, but I'm not there yet. But I think it's a worthwhile question to ask for those who are waiting for Hutch to break out, waiting for that multi-sack game and for that 12-plus sack season that some people have been predicting. I mean, not a bad prediction. 9.5 in a rookie season. 12 the second year. That's reasonable. It's been done. It's a real life, believable prediction. It would be great, but so far, not much. So we're gonna wait to see what Hutchinson does now against. He's not gonna be rushing the quarterback, dropping back to pass. They're gonna be dumping it to Bijan. So we're gonna see Hutch probably go without a sack again, just given the opponent, and he's gonna have to play in the flats. He's gonna have to be watching Bijan and keep his assignments. So that's what we're kind of looking forward to with the Falcons. And to get into the Falcons themselves, then, dude, the Falcons are kind of scary. The Falcons are 2-0, which I know the rest of the South is, but they look really solid. I said it on Jake's Takes talking about Week 1 predictions. I think that the Week 1 game was the Falcons and Panthers. The Falcons are a much more established team. Arthur Smith has been there for 1 or 2 years. Desmond Ridder's not a rookie. Kyle Pitts is definitely not a rookie. I don't know what's been happening with him. Drake London, he's going into year 2. Good, very good receiver. They got some upgrades on defense. They got some leadership in Calais Campbell. They got Jesse Bates from the Bengals. He already has a pick this season. So we're seeing some improvements, and they're like much more established. They absolutely have an identity of running the ball with one of the best running backs in the league in Dijon Mustard Robinson. So that's the team that's coming into your house. I guess we've been handling the run pretty well. So it's something that's not like you could drive a semi through the middle of the defense, but that's a very established, that's a very dangerous running game that's coming into Ford Field. Not only is it Bijan Robinson, but it's 1,000-yard rushing for rookie season, 1,000 yards. Tyler Algier, he's there. You got veteran, not a running back, a joker, Cordell Patterson. They don't have him listed as a running back. He's a joker. His position is J. So that's the running back room that you're going up against. You got Bijan, you got Algier, you got Patterson against Gibbs, Reynolds, and Knight. It's looking like a mismatch, running back to running back. And they look scary, man. And then when you bite too much on the run, we're all human, you're going to do that. Then they have the ability, Desmond Ridder can launch to the Drake London. London and Robinson, they gel well together. They complement each other in terms of just like their positions. And, you run Bijan a lot, and then gotcha, Drake London. So I'm nervous about it, man. But it is at home. And the way I look at it and the way I kind of predict some of these games is how shocking would it be for the records after the game to be this and this. So if the Lions lose, then the Falcons are 3-0 and the Lions are 1-2. A little less believable to me than both of us being 2-1, So I still think the Lions got it. I'm holding out hope for it. I think, especially being at home, I'm going to pick the Lions in this one. Unless, we got to see how bad the injuries are going to be to the team. And look at me, I'm already making excuses, but I'm still going to ride with it. Goff will not have the pressure and the curse of the freaking non-interception streak that they've been talking about all week long. And of course he throws a pick six after talking about it for so much. Of course it's going to happen. Come on, I can't stand active streak stats, dude. Like, just wait until they naturally break and say, oh, he had this many passes without an interception. That's third all time. He was really close to 2 all time. Say it afterwards. Don't go building it up every day, and that's all you talk about the Lions. That was so frustrating to see. It was like, I can't remember. I had an example. Never forget it. But either way, I got the Lions in this one. Home field advantage. I'm going to ride with it, and I believe 2-1 for both teams is more realistic than 3-0 for the Falcons. I love the Falcons though. I think they're winning the division. And it's not me saying it late now that I know they're good. You got 3 teams at 2-0 in that division. Baker looks awesome. Saints getting by. But either way, I'm taking the Lions, but I'm nervous. So I hope you all have enjoyed your session of football therapy with Dr. GioMo. And we're going to see what's going to be happening with the Lions in week 3. And just an update on my Pick'em League. Last week I talked about that I was going to talk about how many games I got picked correctly. And I never said it. I put it on screen, but I never ended up saying it. But to kind of recap, so last week, or week 1, I picked 13 of 16 games correct because I'm built that way, baby. And then this week, 11 of 16 because I'm built that way, baby. I won in week 1. Week 2, I'm like 3rd place, but overall I'm still in 1st. We rocking with 24 games picked correctly already out of 36, or out of 32. We're rocking and rolling, man. So, I don't have all my picks up in front of me. Let me go get my picks. We'll close this. We'll get back to it. Let me give you my picks and kind of we'll kind of go over them. We'll put them on screen. We'll put my money where my mouth is. Right now the Giants and 49ers are playing. Picks already in, but we'll get into that. Give me a break, and I'll give you guys my picks for the week.